Previously on Balls.
All right, let's turn our attention to the world of Formula One on this Wednesday afternoon. Just some news. Everyone's always waiting to get some information on Michael Schumacher. Sabine Keim, who is Michael Schumacher's manager, has come out again, not for the first time, and has urged fans to ignore any news regarding the racing legend's condition that doesn't come directly from her or the doctors treating him.
But that's fair enough.
Exactly. She says it again. I'm stressing again that any statement regarding Michael's health not coming from the doctors treating him or from his management must be considered as speculation. I repeat that we will not comment on any speculation. Okay, so there we go. When people sit there and come out and he's going to be this state and that state or whatever, we cannot confirm it because it is not coming from the official lines. All right. Other Formula One news, big news. We were expecting it out on Friday, but it has been announced today. Eric Brullier, the man who was in charge of Lotus, who surprisingly announced his resignation on Friday, has now been appointed to the McLaren Mercedes team as their racing director. So I think that is really, really cool for Eric Brullier. I think it's a massive loss for Lotus. I think this gives us the pure indication that Lotus are in a serious predicament. They've got one of the top drivers there who I'm sure at the moment he's shaking his head going, I don't actually know what's going on. Before I get into my rant, let's have a look at what is happening at Jerez at the moment. It has been wettish this morning, even though there's no official lunch break. The track is actually dry, but as far as I can tell, the drivers are basically going out on the intermediate tires at the moment. Vettel has headed straight. Sebastian Vettel had a little bit of an off, but he's okay. He's back into the pits. And at the moment, Jenson Button for McLaren. Fortunately, they started the car today. He's the quickest man. Bottas is second. Raikkonen is third. Perez fourth. Gutierrez is fifth. But there's nothing to write home about the times at present. But I think also the fact that it is mainly wet doesn't really give us too much of an indication. Anyway, I wrote this morning.
Can't wait!
And I say it right up front. I hope I am proven completely wrong in many, many ways. But what has Formula One done? Initially, I said that we must accept these strange designs and just get on with it. But after the first day of testing in Jerez yesterday, I have to beg the question, what has Formula One done? The designs were always going to be controversial when we first heard about the regulation changes. But my God, some of the designs are downright just stupid and very ugly. Then we have the fact that only 93 laps were completed on day one yesterday compared to 683 in 2013. Surely you should be as concerned as I am. Obviously, this is a year of major change, especially in the powertrain department. Basically, that's the engine. It's more electrical than ever before and extremely complicated. Just ask McLaren. They couldn't even start their car. This is McLaren, people, not freaking Marussia. What is going on? I asked the question. I'm very concerned. We dropped from 18,000 RPM this year to 15,500. We only have 100 liters of fuel for the whole race. Why? Is Formula One turning into an endurance formula? Are they so concerned about the green mentalists? For goodness sake, Formula One uses about as much fuel over an entire season that one jumbo jet uses on one flight. What is the big deal? Now, we have a car at this early stage that sounds not really what we used to. And at this stage, it's about 8 seconds a lap slower than last year's car. And from the front, They all look like they've come from the most outrageous zoo ever conceptualized. Some look like anteaters, others like walruses, some look like armadillos, and a lot look like penises. WTF. Okay. So the question is, why do these noses look so stupid? Well, apparently because of safety. In a simplistic form, the higher nose allows the car to fly up if an accident happens, whereas the lower nose should negate this.
Lower nose.
The lower nose. Well, Adrian Newey, you might have heard of him, doesn't fully agree. And I would rather believe Adrian Newey over any FIA official. The interpretation of the front nose designs are bizarre, to say the least. I do hope and pray that these designs will change during the course of the season. Now, we haven't even had the first race yet, and maybe this has just been a joke and the real cars will be revealed then. I don't know. We also have the most complicated engine ever built. Reading about these engines is a mindful of technical gobbledygook which seems insane, and it's about saving fuel. Why? If a person goes to buy a Ferrari or McLaren road car, the last question they're going to ask is about the fuel consumption. Yet, we now have a regulation which is completely against every single thing Formula One is. Conservation. Plant some trees if you're so concerned. We have had turbo-powered cars in Formula One before in the 1980s. And 30 years ago, these monsters pushed out 1,200 horsepower. Now we're down to 750 horsepower. We have less RPM, less fuel, and from what it seems, dramatic levels of unreliability. What happened to the days when Schumacher drove for something like 5 years without a mechanical failure? Now we could be back to cars leading and then breaking down. We might see a Marussia scoring points in the first few races, or a Caterham winning a race. With the greatest respect, is that what we really want? I do wish the small teams do score points to assist them financially, but come on, I don't buy into this Formula One at the moment. A sport that is trying to cut costs because honestly it is too expensive, decides on regulations that are going to cost the teams millions more because they'll have to replace turbos and engines because of unreliability. No logic in my eyes. F1 is about the fastest drivers and the fastest cars, the pinnacle of technology, the most exciting racing, and the most glamorous events. And now it's about rolling out your car, if you can, on the first day of testing, and for some, not even being able to start theirs. Formula One, go back to the drawing board.
Gears. GearsOnBalls.co.za.
Weekdays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.